busy days.
Yes.
But that suggests that maybe progress happened.
All right. Yeah, busy means something's happening, whether
Yes,
it's.
no, I'm gonna go with progress.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, I'm going to call the Monday, August 1st, 2022, meeting of the Common Council Community Wellness Committee. That is a long mouthful, a lot of C's. The Community Wellness Committee to order, and so roll call. I'm here.
I'm here to throw the
Councilman Murphy.
And Falco's here.
All right, well, we had long minutes from the July 18th summit. I hope you had a few hours to read through them.
I'll be honest, Mark, I skimmed them.
Skim them. Well, any changes that need to be had to the minutes, or?
It looks good to me.
Likewise. And again, so we'll approve the minutes, although we don't need to. I think today was just pretty straightforward. We have the Community Wellness Summit is taking place August 16th. And I really thought that, we have a good handle on what we're doing, I hope. I think I've been able to capture all the comments from everybody. Both of you two offered comments on the draft of the agenda. You both offered thoughts. I think I have it all captured there. I figured we just would use this meeting to kind of go through step by step and kind of talk about the agenda. Big picture, or miss anything, do we want to change anything, hearing from you about the participants and folks that are responding. And then I also want to make sure that we have everything we need in terms of supplies, and I'll go out and try to grab those soon so we can have those. And that was kind of my thinking about what we would cover for today, unless, of course, there's anything else that we want to discuss. So I guess let's just jump right into the agenda. Actually, no, let's start with our participants, if you don't mind, Emily. So how's it going? What's taking place?
Okay, so we have 12 people signed up, which includes us here. So what I was thinking is that probably a next step would be to resend the email as a reminder. But then I think because we have such a short list, I was going to maybe reach out personally to each person with the link and just, be like, we really like your attendance, and so that way it's not just like a commercial kind of feeling email that came to them. And hopefully then we'll get more responses. So that's kind of our next plan, I think.
I think that would be really good. I bumped into a couple people on the list and said, hey, we'd really love to have your participation. And in one case, the person said, I already signed up. I said, great. And the other person said, oh, I'll sign up soon. And I actually see from your list that they did. So
Oh, good. Okay, good.
I think that personalized will help, because these are busy folks, they're doing really important work, and to get everyone in the same room to have these conversations would be helpful.
And the clock's ticking, right? We want to make sure we get them all.
Right.
As many people as we can there.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'd say at this point, our thinking should be big group, because there's not enough room to break in the smaller groups, but let's keep it in big group. And thank you for that. And then you mentioned when we were off of not officially meeting about CCing Luke and I won't speak for myself, but if you want to copy me, that'd be great. But I can certainly follow up with anybody that I might know personally and make sure to double down on encouraging them to come.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah.
And if there's anyone you want me to reach out to, just let me know, and I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart, here.
Thank you. Good. Yeah, the folks I spoke to, the two people I spoke to were really super positive. Couldn't wait. Thought it was going to be really good, and we're really hopeful that we'd be able to have some action coming out of this, which I think we all are. So excellent. Good. Well, thank you again. I think that was fantastic. A couple people commented it was a nice looking invitation. So I guess let's jump into the agenda, and I think I captured most of what we spoke about last time. I sent it to everybody last night. I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at it. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to put it to the agenda for today's meeting, simply because I was finishing it yesterday. So I think we start with a welcome. Quickly welcome participants, housekeeping, where the bathrooms are, the use of the index cards. We've talked about those, that people would jot down notes on the index cards or comments they would like to make. So, sometimes you're at a conference and you want to say something, but there's just not the right space, or it passes by and you're 5 minutes ago. But I think that would be helpful to encourage people to keep those index cards, or we can put sticky notes, so we can figure that out, that they would keep there, and we can collect those. throughout the time or later on. Then to explain briefly what the Community Wellness Committee is and how/why we were founded, thank you, Emily, for those points. And then that would kind of, I felt that would then kind of give way, we were, Mayor Drennick kind of organized this just for this reason, boom, over to you. And I figured 5 minutes, does that seem like it'd be sufficient?
More than,
Okay.
yeah.
You want me to back you down?
Yeah, a couple of minutes is all I need. And I have not had yet anybody tell me that I've spoken to for too short a period of time.
All right. So then I figured we would then get to the purpose of the summit. What are we doing here? What's this all about? What are our goals? What are we hoping to accomplish here? And we can frame those out a little more, but I think your questions at least did a good job of setting that up. And I'm also thinking today we might want to think about assigning pieces, hint, hint, to folks if we want to, whatever people want to do, or just have one facilitator, whatever you think. From there, jump into the introductions of the organizations and the people that are there representing themselves. Again, Emily, your questions, state your name, the organization that you're representing, your affiliation, and then that question that we're asking, and I appreciate that, doctors, let's have those questions in advance. I think we do have that in advance, but what are the 3 areas in which your organization excel in supporting community wellness? Great question, so we'll ask them that. I think that might open up a whole bunch of different questions. I think that was the point you made in your comments, is that by keeping it more broad, it helps us to think about maybe other ways that they're thinking about community wellness that might not be on our radar. And it does open up side conversations around food insecurity and things like this that are, big issues, and I think, frankly, issues that are all things that we want to focus on, but we've been really focused on these other issues, and we can open up some conversations there as well. From there, I figured we'd start to go through the particular topics, about 30 minutes each, starting with mental health, homelessness, and drug addiction. Those are just randomly there unless there's some argument for doing one in front of the other. I'm sorry, I'm moving too quickly. Any thoughts about
I'm reading this really great.
Okay. So mental health, homelessness, drug addiction, that order is an argument for another better order, or again, that was just random, but.
I'm sorry, mental health, was it?
So I just had in the agenda order, mental health, homelessness, drug addiction. And that was, again, I was just me randomly putting them down. Is there an argument for any kind of starting with one and leading to the other?
They all kind of, if I can just jump in.
Please, yes.
I would say that you can make a good case for drug addiction being number 2 and homelessness number 3.
What's your thinking there?
Mental health, drug addiction, and homelessness, in that those first 2 are sometimes indicated in the last.
And it's so linked, I agree.
Okay, so we'll start with mental health, drug addiction, homelessness, in that order. Okay, then the thinking was, and then this is meant to be more brainstorming, so he's had a good idea, please jump in, that we would begin to ask those questions, those essential questions that we're asking in all those particular areas. What are the causes of mental health challenges in our area, or fill in the blank challenges in our area? What are the gaps in service that exist regarding this particular area? Broad questions, kind of maybe not both on the board, if you will, but try to lead discussion about one and then move to the other. But clearly there might be people that are answering the both that are coming up. My thinking is that we would try to use the easel board and write down answers. So actually, I should probably get markers to make sure. Because Carrie said we have paper, but we should get markers for the easel board.
That was, if I may, that was something I wanted to talk about today, is just kind of getting a list of, like, what do we need when the day comes, right? Do we want name tags, probably, and,
Yeah, I have a partial list someplace, name tags. We also talked about the index cards.
I have a ton of index cards, because I was kind of learning Spanish, and then,
That's cool.
so I have a ton of blank index cards, if you want,
So
I'm
I'll
happy to
tell you
donate
that.
that. Okay.
Do you want to have these little, like, sticky note type of, you can write a little note, stick it down, or do you think index cards will accomplish the same thing?
But no, for what? like saying who you want?
No, but thinking more along the lines of keeping notes on things. I think the index cards accomplish it. Certain comments that they might want to make or things that they might want to add.
Oh, okay, that's
Things that we then collect later on.
It'll allow a lot more space and structure to write it than a sticky
And the index cards, okay. Doctor?
Well, I don't know what your vision is, but I've been to many, brainstorming sessions where there's room somewhere to stick the sticky notes on, and then you start grouping them in, groups that come together. So I don't know if that was part of your process, but if that is, then the sticky notes make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't thought that through, but we could certainly, I think we can add that in really easily, is to say, maybe we leave 5 minutes at the end of each of these sessions and say, if you have any ideas or any other things, write them down, jot them down, sticky note. We put them in a parking lot someplace where they're kind of organized, and then we can maybe try to start to kind of organize them as we're doing, alongside of all the things we've discussed, right? So they're both kind of side by side. The topics we discussed, whatever people then get to parking lot in this particular area, and that allows us to at least preserve the conversation there, and they can use the index card maybe for other comments and things like that. Does that seem to make sense?
Yeah, I just know as a process that sometimes helps.
Yeah.
But then you see the commonalities behind certain.
One thing we could do ahead of time is on the easel board. For example, with a big paper, we could have 1 page per topic. And to keep track of things, it might be easier to have, similar to what you're saying, but at the end of, let's say, the mental health session, we have folks take 5 minutes, they can come put their sticky notes on that page, and then we'll flip the page so it'll all be on that page with that topic after we've written everything down. So a little bit like a sticky note addition onto it. That'll keep track of them as well as keep track of them.
And perhaps we can begin to, during that time, we can begin to kind of look at that and organize, certainly what are the themes? Begin to organize our thinking about those themes, especially at that moment, so we're not, a lot we're processing during that 45-minute, actually 45, hour and a half sessions. But that might help us for the later on when we begin to identify those themes, is having some quick conversations. All right, so we're looking at 25 minutes-ish of, boy, holding to this is going to be tough. And we do have a little room to play with here, so we don't have to be right on the numbers, because I think we have 2.5 hours, we have about 3-ish hours built in, we have a 4-hour window, so I think things are going to push a little bit on the edges. So I figured that was better than trying to then make a 4-hour schedule and hold tightly to it. Does that make sense? We know that we've got some flex time. I also think that the conversations at the end might hopefully take more than an hour as we really get into what next and those themes and everything else. All right, so then 25 minutes of discussion, followed by 5 minutes, sorry, just to make sure I keep all these minutes, 5 minutes of kind of processing the sticky notes. Sorry, we need to come up with a better word than those. Tell us a high school teacher. In the sticky notes on the sheet, and then identifying themes. We're starting to identify themes. And we'll do that for every session. Does that sound good?
Yeah, no, it does sound good. I'm just thinking ahead. I'm more than happy to act as A or the or whatever we want to do facilitator for the meeting. I don't do a lot of these, but I've with classrooms I've been getting really good at not chop, but really keeping folks on task. I know you're a teacher as well, but over Zoom we're really not better.
Yeah, no, I think to me it's a matter of what we want to do, and so we can divide a piece of this and have someone facilitate it. We can have 1 or 2 facilitators. It's really whatever we want to do. So if you're comfortable facilitating, what are your thoughts? Are you comfortable facilitating, or would you rather be scrolling on the?
I'd rather probably take minutes and comment. I think you'd be a better facilitator than me.
So that's cool.
I can see it kind of just being like an open conversation as long as you just kind of like, all right, we've been talking about this for like a half hour. Someone's kind of going along like, okay, let's just move it along. And I'm happy to chime in and do that,
Yeah, I think,
As far as being the leader of the conference,
so
I'd rather be in more back end.
let's do that. Let's have that you can be, definitely kind of writing down all the comments. Sometimes it's hard to facilitate and then you try to write things down. I was never good at writing the chalkboard. And then we can figure out how we want to organize who does what and whatever else. And I'm open to anything. This doesn't bother me doing one of those, any of these types of things. But let's have an agreement right now, is that anybody can jump in. If you miss something or if you want to add on to something, just jump in. I mean, 3 of us are facilitating, so jump in and let's have that conversation moving forward. We don't have to be like, oh, it's not the right time, jump in.
Yeah.
Good.
Sounds good.
And I would say likewise with both of you as well, please. Because we're trying to get it. Sometimes you might get caught someplace and you're not thinking about something else, but that person ties it back in and it pulls together. Good, all right.
I think it's gonna be good. I feel like it can be kind of casual.
Yeah, I think you're right. It should be a conversation. It should be pretty casual, right? It's not supposed to be structured. We're structuring it so we really get through all this, but I'm hoping it's a really wonderful, free-flowing conversation. And we're doing nothing but sitting back and listening, writing stuff down, making notes, asking follow-up questions if we need to, but I don't see the role of facilitating as I don't know anything about this. These experts know a lot. I just want to ask the questions and get them talking and making sure we're able to talk. I think that's really what we're looking to do here.
Yeah, I'm fully anticipating being learning 4 hours straight. I really am looking forward to it, but there's a lot to learn. You're right, there's other experts are here. So
Yeah, absolutely. Just the past, whatever it's been, 7 months has been a learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here for me for a lot of these things. All right, so we'll do that with all 3. 25 minutes. Order, sticky notes, if any other comments, and that would be how we be part of our introducing the entire thing, is that as we're talking these things, if you would like to add a point, make a point, there's 2 ways to do it. One, immediately you can put it on the sticky note when it pertains to a particular topic. We will put it right up there at the end of each particular topic. We'd also like to encourage you to keep an index card of other points, maybe contacts you think we need to reference, on that large scale thing that you want us to come back to or follow up with, that can be part of that index card. And that way we will then collect those all in, process them, figure out what our next steps are looking at those index cards. The sticky notes are really to inform the conversation as well as to help us organize the conversation. I think that was the point you made, Doctor, so that we have some kind of organization there for you to debrief each one of these briefly at the end of the time.
Just as far as getting these materials, like things that we need, index cards, wall outbreak notes, obviously. Sticky notes, easel pads. I think Carrie said that there were some available here if there's an easel. I can't bring an easel, but it's like, a wooden fine art easel. I might have one. I can look around for one, but I don't, maybe we might be able to get that. There might be like a little aluminum one around here or something.
I think let me figure out school a little bit, see if I have.
Okay.
I might be able to use that.
And then like markers and pencils and name tags, I can help with that.
Yeah, I don't mind going out to take an Office Depot run and grabbing those. Name tags, markers, pencils, right? Good point. If we don't have the easel board that, or easel paper, but I think Carrie has it. Is there anything else we're missing from that list?
We're not planning on like recording this or anything, right?
I think it might be really challenging to try to do it.
I'm
I'd like to be
4 hours would be challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really would.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
But I did a summit at Farmers 10 years ago, and we recorded every bit of it, and I don't think anybody ever watched it.
That's it. So if you were going to record any of this, I would think it might be your last hour where you're having a discussion that's informed by the 3 hours that preceded it. And then even from that, you're looking at excerpting that which is of interest for somebody. So you may wind up with something that's 15 or 20 minutes long. And that's doable, but ultimately, is it a wasted exercise? Because
Yeah, I don't know that
there's
it's.
a lot of editing and time investment. And sometimes I know from personal experience, you put a lot of energy into something, and then you get done with it, did anybody look at that? But as it turns out, yeah.
I think the most important thing to come out of here is going to be that last hour. I mean, obviously, the discussion forms that last hour or more, but it's really then the what now, where do we take this conversation? And then hopefully not also just where we take the conversation, but can we create something here, do people want to buy into something that can advance that conversation, independently of what we're doing here as well?
Can I ask, just to piggyback on the idea of the recording piece, is the media going to be invited, and if so, would it make sense to invite them most specifically, be a part of this that you want to, but you're going to be most interested in the last hour of our conversation, so that maybe something gets generated either for the newspaper or what the radio is doing on the website, that might do something in terms of, increasing public awareness of the progress that was made.
Yeah, no, that's a very good idea.
Although I wonder if it may make people less hesitant to be fully open with some of their true feelings and concerns. I don't know, I'm always pretty guarded about what I say when the media is present. I don't know.
Well, obviously, if the media asks to be,
If they ask to be
then
involved.
you don't have any recourse except to say, of course.
Right. Yeah, I guess I would kind of lean, as Dr. Joyce is suggesting this, just to allow people that space to be able to have like-minded people all in the same room, looking to come up with wild ideas or simple ideas and just brainstorm. And this is all about brainstorming and what next. And I would hesitate if anything that we brainstorm becomes fact and then we're moving forward, right?
And this is not New York City. Our media is pretty small and compromised, frankly, for what they might be able to provide for coverage.
What might be better is for them to attend our next meeting following the summit, where we can give them kind of an overview about what was discussed and,
That's good.
I think so. And especially because it's such a long period of time. It's like, when do you invite them? How long do they stay? What do they pick up? And it's, so why do we do that?
Yeah.
Invite the media to our meeting following, so it would be our September meeting.
If we do this right, this is going to form hopefully quite a few conversations between August 16th and September amongst folks. We're going to have to take those cards and process them so that meeting would be a good time. I have no problem, using the media music, but, incorporating the media into discussion of what next and where we go. So I think that would be good. A good suggestion.
And I can bring my camera and take some pictures,
No, that'd be.
Yeah, capture the.
Right, so it's like, okay, let's everyone get together, and like, these are the people that all got together, and then they can report on the findings. So, let's do that. Good, great.
So, let's see, last things here, and this is where, I'll give you I'll throw some initial thoughts, but I really felt like this is the crucial bit, right? The themes and the next steps. So I think we want to spend a little more time getting this right. So my thinking was, is we would then take whatever had been written, right? We moved off to the side, the sticky notes, we've got all the, hopefully several pages of different notes that are out there. It would be lovely if we have, I don't know if Carrie had it, but the kind that stick. It's just an easel board. I might have to go grab some of that one. I like those ones that are like the big sticky notes you can just. So that those are really good for keeping them visually together, even though we're talking about this, you still have those sitting in the
Maybe
business.
some painter's tape,
That's a good call.
so that way you're not doing any damage to the walls.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and let me tell you, I've got a lot of painters too, we've been doing a lot of work with that. So yeah, to have them up, so we would then ask everybody to kind of, maybe that's a great time for a break. We'll give you a 5-minute break, but in the process, we'd like you to make sure you come up here, take a look around, begin to develop your own thinking about what the themes are. And I think we certainly need to put that in the introduction. We're going to be talking about some different things. What we're going to hope to come out of this, one of the things is to look at what themes emerge that might be kind of silver bullet themes that kind of hit several of these different issues and topics. What's going on here? Silver bullets and what word becomes these themes. Have them review that and then ask those questions. What are some of the themes emerging regarding causes? What are some of the themes emerging regarding the gaps? Other questions that we can come up with around themes to ask these?
Say those again.
Sorry, let's write through them. What are some of the themes emerging regarding the causes? What are some of the themes emerging regarding the gaps? It's still pretty broad, but
Maybe potential partnerships as well.
Because if you did start grouping, say, the sticky notes, and you could see that one person, like a couple people's responses were all in like that theme, then you could visually see those were the people that might need or want to work together.
yeah, and I think that helps us get into, all right, do we want to have a work group that focuses on this particular theme as we
Yes.
move this forward, right? To have those kind of that. So yes, good potential partnerships or potential work groups that might emerge from those themes.
I have a question unrelated to this.
Yeah.
Will there be like refreshments?
I was thinking I would just probably bring some Italian cookies or something, like we could get like cookies and lemonade or, I don't know, what do you want to do?
Yeah, after
It would be
I,
nice to have something, I think.
Yeah, so.
after I scheduled this, I thought, boy, this was kind of the worst place to put it. We should put it in the same room that we used the last time that we met, because it was right off the Starbucks. So I think it's too late to grab that room, although I will certainly look into what we've advertised it, so.
I don't think it would be a problem to change it at this point, because we only have a few people signed up.
Maybe Sodexo could be approached around what kind of costs we might be looking at for coffee and water, and then maybe cookies from, off premise.
Okay.
Or like,
The mayor's
you know,
got a little bit of a budget, not much.
I mean, well, I don't even mind, throwing in for it too, like, depending on how many people end up coming. I feel like Dunkin' Donuts has like, like the coffee in like the box, or just to like bring something like that and bring, make cookies.
I'm trying to be really careful not to tread too much on the roll up there, so would somebody mind contacting Sodexo? I can give you a name of who to call.
Yeah, I can, or you guys, either way.
Okay.
I don't even know what Sodexo is.
It's the food service.
Oh, that's your food service. Okay, wait,
That food that's on campus comes through Sodexo. It's difficult to, we couldn't have it catered, if you would, by another company because they have.
I see.
Right.
But are we allowed to so we're not allowed to bring in,
I don't know that question.
Yeah, that may be.
But it is.
we're not allowed to bring like cookies and lemonade?
We're having a conversation. Either one of you guys want to do that, or do you want me to do that?
I'm happy to do it unless you, or,
Do you want to? Yeah, sure. Okay.
So you'll,
yeah, I'll ask about if we're allowed to bring, things in, and if not, what we could expect for, what are we thinking, maybe 2 dozen people to be safe? I mean, we're at 12 right now. 18?
Yeah.
2 dozen?
Let me ask the question, I can ask somebody the question about can we bring food in, I'd rather ask that off the record first.
Sure.
Public meeting now, but then you can follow up.
Yeah,
with the,
sounds good.
The question to Sodexo about what we may want to have.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm happy to call, email, whatever, contact.
So Mayor, you know what we're talking about here. If I could do a quick switch on the rooms,
Yes.
do you think that other room would be better? Given its proximity to Starbucks?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't know anybody that left the room in the 2 sessions that I was at. We're talking about, I forget what the waterfront room or something it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody in either of the 2 sessions that I was at got up to get themselves coffee or whatever. And so I don't know if it really makes a difference. Once people are seated, although it is a 4-hour gig, and that may make a difference. I think where you are is fine. It's a more conducive room, I think. What do they call it now?
Where we are now,
Yeah.
the Morris
Yeah.
Center or Morris Hall?
Yeah.
It's in Marshall, I forget what it's called, but but anyway, it's a good room, and I don't know that it makes a big difference.
Okay. Well, so yeah, let's look into that then. I mean, maybe just to have some coffee drinks and some cookies, some sweets to perk everybody up about
I think
halfway.
water, just the nice thing with water,
Yeah.
they could probably set up for us.
Sure. Yeah, that should be pretty easy.
Or like even if, you know, like if I have to go over to like BJ's or Walmart, just get like some bottled water or something, you know?
Yeah, let me know what sort of is.
Okay, yeah, we'll find out, right, yeah.
But then I think what we do is we have it sitting there and then we encourage people during that break to, 15 minutes, get something to revive yourself a little bit and know about, take a look at what we've got here on the board, and then we can kind of resume our conversations.
Sounds good.
Good, thanks for the suggestion. All right, any other questions in terms of when we start talking about themes?
That comes to mind.
Okay, sorry, just trying to get back here. All right, and then, so once we move in that conversation on themes, the questions we're asking, and I'm hoping that the conversation begins to very quickly move around these are themes to, okay, what are the action steps? I put just kind of general random questions, big questions, what are the best ways to maintain momentum? Is there interest in creating work groups to continue the momentum? And then begin to identify those particular work groups. Other questions? Maybe we can, if we have some of these questions we're going to also ask, at the moment as we're kind of understanding this. And again, everyone feel free, if you see a question that should be asked, ask it. I think some of these things we might, be able to ask and learn from it, but are there action items that we can move forward on? And then, if so, what makes the most sense? So should we prioritize some of these action items? If we come up with a list of 6 or 7 action items in work groups, what should we prioritize? I would like to just get some more guidance there. Anything else that folks are thinking?
I'm trying to think about keeping it broad, but this part might also be informed by the previous with themes. Maybe what are some of the best ways we can work together to implement themes from above, which obviously we don't know yet, but something like that.
And I'm thinking as you sort of brainstorm what may be a work group, is have people thinking about other individuals or agencies that they may want to sort of expand to for.
Yeah, good call.
Mhm.
So what other agencies should the work groups expand?
Agencies or people or.
Right.
Which might even suggest that, if the 4-hour session is as successful as I presume it's going to be, that those attendees may feel like there are some folks that should have been there that missed out, and perhaps there's a rationale to repeat the exercise in some fashion for a different or larger audience.
Yeah, like, I know one thing that's a thing, is that you want to, at some level, include your target population or constituents, so that you have work group around addiction. You may want some people that are in recovery in that group, or homeless people represented. I don't know, that's just something to think about as you focus and then look at forming definite work groups.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic solution, or idea. I think that if we're not talking about the very people that we're serving, we're talking around and at them, and that's never been comfortable with me. So thank you. I think that's a great suggestion. I think does this feel pretty good?
This does, feels real.
I'll revise that and resend to everybody. It's real. Yeah, that's happening. I'll revise and resend to everyone. You and I can maybe have a conversation offline about how we want to
Yeah,
coordinate
absolutely.
that, and again, whatever,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
okay. All right, so we've gone over our group, we've gone over our agenda, we know what we need to buy, we're gonna look into food. Yep.
Just let me know as soon as you have that
I will
conversation.
contact tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a little bit mini vacation on Wednesday, so I'll
Okay.
make sure I contact you by then. Are we missing anything obvious?
When the way the room is set up, do you think we need to make like name tag, like little tents for where people are sitting, or no, name tags
I
okay?
think if they,
That's enough.
yeah.
I would imagine that most folks know of each other. Most
Yeah.
folks know of each other. We're probably the weak links here that probably don't know a lot of the players in the particular group. But it's not a bad suggestion, so let's think it through. I mean, would it benefit to have the name tags? We could probably just use our list and generate the name tags that way if we wanted to. Like,
Well, not name, yeah, right, I know, I'm just wondering about that. I can look into that.
Okay. Yeah, at the very least, I mean, name tags, and hopefully people will at least keep a little scorecard on who's there, what organizations they're affiliated with.
You make a case for table tents, being maybe a better option than name tags, as people can probably be stationary behind, seated behind these things throughout, and probably not mingling. I know.
We can do both.
You could.
Okay, I'll look into that
It
as
just
well.
makes it easier, I think, if you're across the room to
Yeah.
identify someone pretty easily.
Agreed.
I had another thought too now. Spacing. Got hung up on the table. I think this sounds great.
Okay. So we talked about getting there a little early,
Oh, yeah.
starting at 1. We want to plan to be there 12:30, just to set up.
Yeah, that sounds good. That was actually gonna be my question, but I figured we could. Yes, I think that makes sense.
Okay, good. And I'll make copies of all this, so we at least have, 5 of us have kind of the game plan, I guess the chiefs, if we want to get for them, the
Sure.
game plan, so we can follow along. Oh, well, actually, should we have an agenda for folks? With maybe just maybe not all the things that we have, but kind of quick overview of the agenda, so they
I
can
think
see
that's a
those
good
questions
idea.
and have those available to them.
And I am, if it's agreeable to everybody, happy to go through tonight when we leave and kind of just take yours and remove our notes and send it off to Bonnie or Carrie or actually just CC everybody on the, no, I guess it would be good to send it out. I'll do it and I'll find out where to send it.
To,
Oh, no, I have it printed off. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm a little lazy.
yes, for the agenda for the participants?
Yes, yeah, I'll have it, I'll have that.
Okay, yeah, I think we can write
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that all they need to know would probably be the big picture, kind of welcome, introduction from Mayor Drenick, introduction to the purpose of the summit, and then the introduction of everybody else, and then all the different groups, right? So kind of the bigger things, I think to include the questions there would be good as well.
Yep, yeah,
So
absolutely.
then we can, as we're moderating, introduce why we're doing the sticky notes, and all those types of things, how the format's gonna go in terms of questions or discussion, and then, kind of thinking about those themes for each one, these are subcategories.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on it.
All right. Are you seeing it?
And then, we have council that evening. So I asked for the report.
Oh,
We'll give you 45 minutes.
well, I think we're.
I saw that, and I was like, oh man, after that long day, we're gonna get council meeting after that, like,
I think maybe it sets the agenda. Maybe it's a little agenda.
Yeah, exactly. We just would say, they had a long day, guys.
We can approve the minutes of the last meeting, that's it.
yeah.
Well, we're in our due, right?
Yes,
Doing our civic responsibility.
For sure are.
We can keep our report short and sweet on that.
Yes,
You know.
yeah. that will-
We had a successful day, more to come.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think the interesting thing will be, we might want to think about chatting at some point about looking at all of the different information in terms of how we would pull that all together, right?
Mhm.
Just to be a little more prepared for the September meeting so that we have all that. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Any other points, any other information, anything that we haven't considered?
No, I have a good list going. I guess it's just as long as we're in contact with each other, and then if we decide that we want to, I don't know if we want to meet up or anything, that's on.
I would just ask, so today is the first, and, you know, we're looking at 2 weeks and a day. So, do you have a sense of these next few days as you're reaching out to, again, we have 12 people, including, you said, members of this group, so I'm guessing that we have something like 7 people who've signed up. And you're going to want to have, you know, as
We
far
want to
as you can.
have, right.
So, at what, you know, where on the calendar these next several days does the urgency start to ratchet up?
Well, let's see, we've got, it's on Tuesday. Is Friday, that next Friday, is that too much of a deadline?
The Friday of next week?
Yeah.
About Friday before.
I guess what I'm saying is that if I can assist, if Dr. Jorgensen can assist, there's going to be this first round, it sounds like, where Emily, you're making the connection and you guys are assisting with that. And then it may be that they need to go to the big guns.
You know,
Because we want it to be,
Yeah.
you know, populated. So not to put pressure on, but also not to wait too long in the, you know, in the scheme of things.
So can I suggest maybe we use this week as kind of our last week of trip organized and next week is emergency week, if you will? And we try to get the letters out and then we can, maybe you can feed us all an email Friday at some point, let us know where we're at, and then we can maybe benefit from really trying to double down and get both. We also might want to do, maybe actually what you could do is send us the participants that have already confirmed, and that way then, hey, I'd like to look for holes, if there's agencies that we really need to have represented, all right, let's go out there and try to recruit them. And then if we see there's some real obvious people that have it, maybe individually we can reach out beyond the email that you'll be sending and try to encourage people to do that. Because, yeah, I agree with you, Mayor. I think we want to have a robust discussion with as many different partners or potential partners in the room as possible so that we can begin to really get at this. And the more people we have with their ideas and their, you know, their understanding, their expertise, the better we're able to solve, at least begin to work towards solving.
It's likely to catch fire,
Yeah,
too, by
absolutely.
virtue of
And I invited our fellow council members. I don't know that they will attend, but they will.
Yeah.
But, one, you know, perhaps some of the, at least one individual, if you wouldn't mind reaching out, Cyan, as, maybe Mr. Reggie Knight from.
Yeah, so I was thinking, he won't be available, perhaps he has someone he can send on his behalf.
Right.
Okay.
That was one that, you know, I feel like you're gonna have more of an impact there. I just downloaded the report, so I have everyone's email, so I'm not sure exactly who each of these people are, because someone's like Julie or something, you know, so, I'll have to go through and kind of just figure out who exactly they are, and I'm happy to make that first, you know, reach out, but then I think if it's someone that you know, just follow up with like, hey, dude, you know.
Love to have you there. And I'm hoping we haven't missed anybody out. I mean, I think we constructed that list based off the advisory group, which of course we want to have them, what we brainstormed as well, but I'm just hoping we're not missing somebody obvious in this group, so.
We do have Chris or representatives from OPD and Ryan Fire as well, right?
They were invited, I
think both chiefs.
they haven't registered, but I believe they're planning on it.
Good, yeah, they'd be important.
Absolutely.
And you know, another thing I was gonna say too, even if I can include the link, but if people even just wanna give us a verbal or an email back like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, that's fine too.
One thing that we might want to email Chief Witzenberg with the link and
Mhm.
ask him if he can share with his group, because he has a wide-ranging group of people that are involved, and he did offer to send that to them. I met with them 2 weeks ago,
That's
and
right,
kind of introduced what we were doing, and got some feedback from them about some different things, but.
with the community safety, or that.
Exactly.
Solutions Panel.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
And then I was impressed with the breadth of the people that were there.
Mhm.
Every piece that was present in that group was,
It's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
Really, it's impressive. I was there for a meeting one time, not for this, but it was, yeah. It's
a lot of folks, yeah, a lot of folks, a lot of folks, I mean, just areas that I didn't even know
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is really interesting, so I think they would be good as well.
Yeah. The only thing I would add, you know, hearing from somebody that verbally, that yeah, I'll be there, is great, but we're going to want to see their email address, know that they're coming so that they can be sent a parking pass.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be it. And that alone would be enough, maybe to get somebody to be a little more formal about their commitment.
Yep. And I will get the parking pass and the maps to be able to send to our participants.
Okay, that's a really, yeah, great call.
When do students start coming back? Sorry.
They're beginning to come back, I mean, it's in terms of the trainings and things like that, but in terms of the bulk of the students arrive really the week of the 20s, and I forget what the exact Monday of that date is, I think that they arrive on that.
21st or, if it's SUNY wide, it's 21st or 2nd.
Yeah, yeah, they'll start kind of filtering in there with the big bulk of that being later in the week. So yeah, it will be getting busy very quickly in the 20s. It's already feeling like it's back to school, and I still have a few more weeks. All right, you good?
think so.
All right, well, thank you all for your thoughts and input. I'm actually really looking forward to this and kind of excited about what we might be able to produce out of it, so thanks.
Right away, yeah.
Yeah, this is exciting, it's good.
Yeah.
Let me say